I felt it. I mean, Thurston and Kenneth out to be with Cousin Libby's parents.
Mm-hmm.
And so, because we were so sick and that flu was raging, and then my stepmother came down with it, and after she went to bed, she just lived. I think it was less than 48 hours.
Less than 48 hours.
And they got the doctor. I was able to get the doctor, and she was so very ill that they were called. He was able to get a nurse.
It was like the Black Plague sweeping through Europe.
Oh, it was terrible. And
so millions.
They were able to get a nurse, even though the thing was just raging through town, and the nurses were in demand everywhere. And it was cold.
It was far worse strain of flu than anything we've seen since.
Yes. And there was nothing to be done for it. You just either lived or died. So, but the strange thing, they thought fresh air was the way to treat it. So we had a fireplace in every room, and they turned out they didn't have a fire in her room, and opened up all the windows.
But they thought there were germs, probably.
And when they thought cold air was better for the lungs like that, freezing cold. And I guess the nurse got there that morning, and along about, must have been 11 o'clock at night. It seemed to me later, but it could have been 10. My stepmother got so much worse that, and I don't recall if the doctor came back or he was so busy just working night and day, whether he prescribed something in advance, and they called a drugstore, my father did, and he had to go after it. And by the time he was back with the medicine, my stepmother was dead. And I remember Hal came and got in bed with me, and it seemed to me he stayed awake all night, wondering what was going to become of us.
How old was your stepmother? Was she young woman? In her 20s?
She must have been about 27 or 28 when she died.
How old was your mother when she died?
I think about that same age. I have the birthdays all down in a little book, birth and death dates. And so what became of us was that we went home to Grandma's for the summer. Hal went back immediately, huh?
Grandmother and grandfather
Buchanan, yes. And so Hal went back immediately. And some people by the name of Vicks that lived 2 or 3 doors down from us invited me to stay with them till school was out. And and my father still lived in the old house by himself. And I stayed with the Vicks family. Mrs. Vicks was a lovely person, and her father was a minister. And I enjoyed visiting there because they had one daughter, Mrs. Vicks' sister, that was a little older than I, maybe 2 or 3 years older. I really liked her. And, so when school was out, I then went out to the farm with Grandpa and Grandma Bob and Hal.
Your dad was still alive then?
Oh yes, he lived 2 years after that. Then my stepmother's sisters moved into Brown, and Cousin Bertha was school teacher. And I'm not sure I don't know where she taught school. It wasn't in the Brown schools. Sort of vague, and more or less vague, I might say. And Winnie, the younger sister, worked, but I think she was also going to school, taking some courses or something. Then when I guess we lived there a whole year before, while they were both there, both the women there. Then when summer came, it wasn't summer because they weren't there in May, so it must have been earlier in the year they left and back to the farm. And
was this during World War II or World War I? Was this all during the war? Do you think the timing?
Yes, it was during and after the war.
Yeah.
And Charlie,
Well, Uncle D.S. was an officer during the war, so this was
Oh, yes.
before he went in or after he
well,
came out?
his graduating class at A&M was graduating
Well, he's
a
a
couple of months
professor
early.
at this time.
He became a professor. The war was
So
over.
he was
and
over
a
back,
professor.
and so we're talking in the early 1920s, somewhere along
Yes.
there.
And so about 1921, maybe, I'm not sure of the date. And anyway, Kenneth's Aunt Bertha she would teach a year, save her money, and then go back to school for a year to working on getting higher teacher's credentials. And
she was a systematic, diligent person.
oh yes,
You liked her very much too.
she was a very fine woman, and
Her name was Graham, Bertha
oh
Graham.
yeah. At that time she was not married, but later on she married, and I don't recall the name of the man.
Yeah.
Oh, quite interesting. Uncle Charlie, he was almost a sadist.
Uncle Charlie? No, who?
Kenneth's grandfather.
Oh, he was mean?
Yes, he disliked resented him, and he would delighted in saying, "You're the ugliest kid I ever saw."
To Kenneth?
Yes.
Nice
And he
looking
would
young
say,
man.
if people were there, he'd say, "You're the ugliest kid I ever saw." And he had a dog that he decided should be killed, and he made Kenneth, someone tie a rope around the dog, and made Kenneth hold the rope, and they wanted to walk off down someplace, and somebody else went with him. I don't remember whether one of Kenneth's uncles or cousin or somebody that was living there, to shoot the dog.
What a mean man.
And Kenneth was just a little boy, and that dog, was kind of crazed with the wounding, and it ran around and around, wrapped that rope around Ken, because he ran in circles around him, and that was
What a horrible...
just a terrible, traumatic experience for Kenneth. I didn't know all of this was going on until later years. In the last few years, Kenneth and Thurston talked on. Thurston could talk up to him, and
Kenneth somehow was too shy, or
and he'd
Thurston had a little more he was more feistier, wasn't he?
yes, and so Kenneth loved flowers all his life, and there was one little old rose bush around out in the yard or someplace, and he nurtured that little rose bush. He'd water it and everything. And
it's the beginning of Kenneth's rose career.
Uncle Charlie said, "You're a sissy. Only sissies would do that."
Uncle Charlie, what a wonderful human being.
By the time I knew him, he didn't do a lick of work. He just sat in his easy chair.
The kids, huh?
Yes, and his
Who took care of him?
His sons did the work. Even his daughters would have to go out in the field.
Oh, so he owned the place, but
oh yes,
he was the original couch potato.
So they sold that part of the place and moved into Harvey after I left. Bought a house there, and that's where Ken and Thurston grew up, was in Harvey.
Did Uncle Charlie's wife they lived with Uncle Charlie?
Oh yes, Aunt Fanny was a very good woman, and she was very good to the boys and loved them.
But Uncle Charlie...
and if she felt any resentment, I've never heard either Kenneth or Thurston say so.
Yeah. And they stayed there until they were old enough to get away.
Yes. Kenneth went to college.
Did he get a scholarship to A&M? How did he...
I don't think so. Tuition probably helped him. And then tuition was free.
Tuition was free?
Either that or very, very...
Well, it almost cost nothing when I went there, didn't it?
Well, it wasn't free, but it was practically free.
Yeah, because it was a poor man's college, wasn't it?
Yeah. And so Kenneth was so smart. He was smart in high school.
Yeah.
He probably should have been valedictorian in high school.
Yeah.
But he wasn't. But he was at A&M. And I'm very proud of him.
I should say so. Valedictorian, huh?
And Thurston stayed there longer, and he got away and took a business course. Didn't go to college.
But then he joined the Army when he was
Then he joined
18
the
or
Army.
something like that.
And then they sent him to, I guess, to
OCS.
officer training camp. He became an officer.
He was a handsome young officer.
Mhm.
I heard Thurston was an extremely handsome young
I'll
officer.
never
Boy,
forget, he was coming through
fantastic
Waco.
in his uniform.
And I went down to the station to meet him, and when this handsome young man, wearing this beautiful
He looked like a
military
Hollywood
uniform,
movie star playing a role.
he looked like
yeah.
it. My heart practically stopped still. He was so good looking.
Yeah. Kenneth was a nice looking man, but Thurston was extremely a Hollywood almost
Oh, yeah.
good looking. So then after your dad killed himself, then, well, that's when you were living with all these people. Then they actually were farmed out to their grandfather,
Yes,
or uncle Charlie. Anyway.
yes, the grandfather.
Yeah. After your dad killed himself, or was that after your father?
And after my stepmother died.
After the stepmother died, then
they never did, never moved back with us. They just,
stayed
there's
there.
no way to take care of two little kids.
Yeah.
I remember having Tim come in and spend a week with me when he was a little boy, while we were still living in, my dad and I living in this little house there together. And out that country, there were no bathtubs. They had to bathe in. They had big foot bath kind of things that they could bathe in. And Ken was so delighted with that bathtub, and I was trying to bathe him, and he wouldn't stay still. And I got angry with him and gave him a little spank on the bottom, and it was wet, and it left my hands. And I have been bothered about that ever since. Then I spanked that little boy. He was enjoying that bathtub. But I was pretty young myself.
Yeah,
So
sure. Well, you were carrying a lot of...
doing pretty good, I guess, for a 14-year-old kid.
Yeah, pretty were. Well, would you describe yourself as a scholar in school?
A what?
A scholar? Did you do really well in your grades?
Oh, I was a good student. Made real good grades.
Yeah.
Not all A's. I had a B or maybe a C sprinkled in there occasionally, but I was good. I was in the top group.
Yeah.
There were a few of us that were in our class that were extremely bright. Ralph Howell and Sanford Gibbs and Mary Lily Fountain and Trueheart Yarborough, Trueheart Buchanan rather, and Aline Smith.
They were all Waco? Not Waco, but Fort Worth High.
And Bryan.
Oh, Bryan.
This was down in Bryan before I went to Fort Worth. And we were all very bright. And we were such good Latin scholars and students that when we were, we took 4 years, and the class dwindled after the first 2 years. So when we were juniors, there were so few of us that they put us in with the senior Latin class, because Miss Weiss said then we could go back in our senior year and take the junior course. And we did so well in that, right along with the seniors, that then after my father died, I went to Fort Worth High School, and I told them about it, but they couldn't arrange it, so I took the senior Latin over again. And there was my Latin teacher that signed my girl graduate book.
Was that right?
I was such a good student, made 100 on all my grades.
You were one Latin
Because
scholar.
partially I had saved all my Latin notebooks.
Yeah.
So so I never had junior high school Latin.
But you had
3
2 years as a senior.
I took 4 years, but I only had 3 years.
Well, actually, that was probably good. You didn't need to take a junior, maybe.
No.
When you really get right down to it, and you went, and by taking that 4th year twice, you really built a base there. It was a wonderful thing to build on from another language.
It's helped me a lot through life.
Yeah.
Know the base of many words.
Yeah. And Sasha attributes her ability with languages and so on to the fact that she took Latin in school.
I really think it should be a required course. I really do. Maybe 2 years of it.
Well, I could have taken Latin. I took Spanish. Miss Gould who was an unfortunate
I took
teacher.
Spanish too.
Oh, you did? Huh?
I just had a year of it in Bryan High School. Then when I went to Fort Worth High School, it was Central High. It was a senior high school, and they didn't teach second year Spanish. I would have had to go to another school, and I couldn't do it.
So you went to you went to Fort Worth in your senior year. I bet you really regretted leaving Bryan at that time. Didn't you?
I did, but in another way, I was glad to.
You could live with Uncle Newt.
Yes, I missed my brothers and my friends dreadfully.
Well, what happened to Kenneth and they stayed on with grandfather? Not Kenneth, but Hal. I thought they stayed with grandpa and grandmother Buchanan.
But and when I was in Fort Worth, and I don't recall if it was in my senior year or the second year when I was going back for the business course. Grandma's house burned down, and they bought
Buchanan?
Yes, they burned. They bought a house in Bryan then.
Was that the house Aunt Fay and Uncle Billy lived in, or was that?
Oh no, they had
different
their own house. And but Grandma had been to town that day, and there hadn't been a fire since early morning. And Grandpa never left
fireplace?
No, it was in the stove.
Oh,
They didn't build one in the fireplace. And when the house burned down that night, they didn't build a fire when they came home. They just had a cold supper. And because they had to have their noon meal in
But
Bryan.
somehow the chimney probably caught on fire?
Well, no, it seemed to have caught in the kitchen, I believe in that area. And the time they were awake, the whole house was inflamed, and they just barely got out. And my grandfather always regretted that he wasn't able to get my mother's picture out. It was a very large picture of her, enlarged picture, lovely thing. And he said that he looked back and he saw that, and it almost looked like she was begging him to
save it.
But the fireplace was so he couldn't go back. And my father had given Hal and Felton a little, one of the smallest little guns that you could get, but he only gave them one because he said it was safer for the two boys to have one gun, and because that way one of them couldn't wander off or maybe get shot accidentally or something. And they grabbed their gun and took it outside and out on the porch and popped it up against the side of the house. And the excitement, it burned that. And Grandma, when she had come home from town that afternoon, had taken off her best dress, and she had her beautiful gold pin. They call them breast pins that they fastened their collars with. And she, instead of putting the pin away, she just pinned it on that dress and was going to do it the next morning. Left the dress out to, I guess, to air or something.
It was all lost.
And that was the only thing she saved.
Oh, she did save.
She grabbed her dress.
Oh.
And that was her clothes. And I guess
probably were
Grandpa
standing out there barefooted, weren't
yeah, I guess Grandpa was able to grab a pair of pants or something. And Hal and Felton, I suppose, they were able to get some clothes. I'm not sure.
So they stood there and watched their house burn down. What a horrifying.
Out in the country. And I guess some of the neighbors saw the flames and came. And this was during the night.
Well, do any pictures of your mother, was that any pictures of your mother remain that you know of?
My mother what?
Your mother, that was her picture that burned, but do any pictures of her remain?
And I'm not sure it was she. There was a picture of three girls taken together in their teens, late teens, and I think that she was one of them.
Where's that picture?
It's packed away,
Oh, good.
And
but you don't know which one?
I'm not sure which one was she. And I think it was when they were students at the academy, Bryan Ladies Academy, because they were dressed alike in white shirt waists and dark skirts and big bow of ribbon in the back of their hair. And there was a letter in there that, or paper that I have. I don't remember if it's exactly a letter where they wrote, the girls wrote to each other, and it's a rather nice little memory. And when the day my mother died, actually not the day she died, but the day of the funeral, we went to we're grandma's, Buchanan's, and that afternoon, after everybody was all gone, my father took Hal and me down to the grave, my mother's grave, and he had a little box in his hand, and he told me that it was their love letters that they'd written each other, and he buried that box in my mother's grave with Hal and me along. And I remember when we went to the funeral too.
The grave was still open at that time. The grave was still open.
Well, they had the dirt piled up.
Yeah, they hadn't closed the grave.
The grave had been closed and the dirt piled up over it.
Oh,
and
he dug up the dirt and put it in.
Dug down, put it down there. And I remember well the afternoon she died. It was just at sunset. And Hal and I, we were so in the way, and we had wandered down to the barnyard, and it was fenced, and we were there more or less leaning on the gate, with not knowing what to do. We felt so useless. Yeah. And a man came down and said, "Your mother wants to see you." So.
Well, this before she died, then.
And then things were black after that till the day of the funeral. And I remember that Hal and Felton, I'm not sure that Felton was with us. No, he was only 14 months old. He was at Grandma Buchanan's. Only Hal and I and my daddy were in the buggy alone. And I guess it was more or less a funeral procession. It seemed like a very long time we spent in that buggy.
I suppose that's the way it was. It was buggies, wasn't it? Buggies.
My father always had a very fine horse. The father of the horse had been a champion racehorse. And I don't recall the horse's name, but he was a beautiful horse.
Did you go up and talk to your mother? The man took you and Hal up to see your mother, though? The man that came down to the barnyard?
We went up there and my mother talked to us.
Did she know she was dying at that point?
She knew she was dying, and she told us goodbye. And I don't recall, but I wouldn't want to say for sure, but some way in the back of my mind, I feel like that she must have said, "Look after your little brother."
Yeah, she probably did.
I don't remember that she said it, but I've always been so protective of them.
Sure. Well, you became a substitute mother.
Well, they looked up to me. I know that.
Well, you were always the most stable one of the family. Still are.
Well, I had the best opportunities.
Yeah.
All my life, I guess I had the best opportunities.
Why did you have the best opportunities?
Because I was the oldest and the girl.
What makes you think you had the best opportunities? I mean,
well,
why would you assume your opportunities
well, if there
were
was
better than theirs?
a little trip to be, like when we went down to Houston, my daddy and the stepmother and I went. I was the one that went along.
You go down by train?
Oh, yes, quite an adventure.
You've never written down for the train?
And, of course, when we bought our first car, Daddy took Hal down by train, took him along. But then
I can remember taking the train to Dallas with Gloria.
Yeah.
To visit
That was when you wrote me the letter.
I still remember the conductor, I wrote that letter saying, "Don't come and get me." You better not come and get me.
Well, we packed you a lunch. Yeah. And Gloria said before we got out of the train yards, you were eating the lunch.
Probably, yeah. I still remember that, sitting there on this, I remember the coach and the conductor coming through.
Yeah. That was an adventure.
Oh boy, was that an adventure. Well, you had your adventure.
Yeah, and then when I was about 8 years old, Faye and I went and spent a month or so with Aunt Wen and Uncle Newt, and they were living at that time in, oh dear, the name of the place escapes me. To me, it was a big place, you know, coming from Harvey.
In the city? Or?
Yeah, to Harvey. So I was, because I was the older one, and
anything was big compared to Harvey.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But Harvey wasn't so bad when I lived there. See, my father had the big store, and across the road was another store, not quite as large, and there was a church, and a Woodman of the World Hall, and a blacksmith shop, and a little butcher shop.
You remember all of that now. You can see it in your mind's eye, huh?
Oh, yes.
Harvey.
And right across the road from us lived the doctor, Dr. Jones and his family. He was the one that delivered me.
Is it?
And he was a wonderful man. And they had a wonderful library. And
the Harvey Library? Or the doctor had a library?
The doctor had a fine library. And I had access to it. And he had a younger son. I think his name was Chester. That was convalescing from tuberculosis. And I enjoyed that young man. I'd go over and spend hours with him. And he always encouraged me to come back. I think he was lonely, you know, just there. Everybody, the rest of the family was busy, so he seemed to enjoy having me there. And then he was recovering, he was doing very well. And that was partly the reason my father sent me to Waco School, was to get me away. He was going to teach that year. He said, start the fall term with my class. Of course, there were 3 or 4 grades in my same room. And that was one of the reasons that...
Do you remember your father's mercantile store? What was it? I mean, what he sold just about everything?
Oh, yes, he did. He sold, of course, coffee and sugar and flour and all those staples and some canned goods. And
did he sell other supplies, clothing, saddles, and bridles? Those probably were.
So cloth, you know,
cloth,
measure off, you know, enough for a dress leg or whatever. And then the post office I was mentioning was, I don't know, it was just a little alcove-like thing. It wasn't closed off exactly from others, but it was separated in a way. And I think my father was the postmaster, but I think he was just appointed by the Bryan postmaster.
Oh, and that was also the post office too, then.
Oh, that is it.
I mean, his mercantile store was also the place where people came
to. Yes, they had the
mailboxes
there.
Mailboxes there.
They had there, and they were just open slots. And when the mail would be brought to us,
how did they come and get the mail? By buggy or by?
Oh yeah, they rode horseback, and they would ride the horse, or some of them came in by buggy. And the mail was just in open slots. So
they take the product to the nearest train, and then they would be shipped by train. Then the mail.
What is it?
They probably took the mail over to the nearest train station then.
Well, the regular mail carrier would come by every day, and he'd pick up the mail that they had brought, go out and deliver the mail that was the incoming mail.
Did your father own a car?
Yes, he bought a car while we still lived in the country. That was when he and Hal went to Houston to get it. And Father had never driven a car, and the salesman told him how to do it, and on the way home they turned over.
Oh, for God's sakes, they turned over and ruined the car?
No, it didn't hurt the car. They just kind of rode off into the ditch. And so...
they managed to right it?
They did. They spent the night with the farmers or whoever it was that lived nearby. And they didn't come home all night, and we were
worried about it.
Yeah, but they came home the next day, and the car wasn't hurt. The farmer got his horses.
Well, that time your father knew quite a bit more about driving. There wasn't any such thing as a driver's license, was it? There wasn't any such thing as a driver's license.
No, I was married and had children before I had
there probably wasn't any such thing as a car license either. They probably didn't have
the
car
cars
license.
were licensed.
Well, they had plates on the car.
Yes, I believe it is, I recall. And our first car was a Metz.
A Metz?
Uh-huh. And
was it an open roadster or was it enclosed?
It was a it was an open sedan.
Open sedan.
Yeah. So
by open you mean?
It didn't have any. I
It
don't
had a
think it
cloth
had side
top.
curtains. It just had a top and.
Did it have a cloth topper?
Yes. And
I bet he was pretty proud of that thing, though. He came
oh,
rolling
we
up
all
there.
were.
Yeah, you all were.
The doctor, Dr. Jones, I don't believe ever had a car.
So Al's first trip in the car, it was a wreck.
When,
Wouldn't you know?
it was only the beginning of it.
Yeah.
Then there was a young doctor that his wife had moved there from another place, and I'm not sure that he was even a Texan.
Yeah.
But he came as more or less an assistant to Dr. Jones, and he had an automobile. And his car and our car were the only two cars anywhere around.
Mm-hmm.
Then later on, Grandpa got a car, and he continued to drive his car like it was a horse and buggy. A trip to town with Grandpa was a real adventure. On the way to town, I, or whatever kid was with him, checked the telephone lines all the way in to see if they were down, or if they were still up all right. And Grandpa would cut in and out around the horses in the buggy. And, howdy, everybody. And I say, who is that, Grandpa? He said, I don't know. I never saw him in my life before.
But he liked it.
He always spoke.
Yeah, he always spoke.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I went into town when I got to have trouble with my teeth. Grandpa would take me to town, leave me at Dr. Fountain's office.
He was the dentist.
He was the dentist.